And we are live. Welcome to the brand new show. Leadership series is starting on One Stream Live. This show is Leadership Spotlight, and here I have the chance to explore conversation with the world's most innovative thinkers, industry leaders, thought leaders, that they're shaping the future of technology, business, and leadership itself. I'm your host, Chris Escodra, and today I'm joined by a special guest. I'll bring her right away into the studio. Here I have with me Hila Lauterbach. Welcome,
Hi.
Hila.
Good morning or good evening.
Good evening from Finland. Good morning, America. We are an international show. I feature in Leadership Spotlight people from around the world, leaders from all over the world. And you are joining me from San Francisco, right?
Yes.
Allow me to say a couple of words for the viewers and our listeners tuned in at the moment. Hila is a co-founder of 10X GTM, a go-to-market consultancy and fractional executive firm. She is a three-time startup founder with more than 15 years of experience hands-on, and she has been building global go-to-market and product marketing teams. These are her superpowers, amongst others. And she's also now on multiple advisory boards, is also advising on Stage 1 VC, works closely with a variety, diverse portfolio of companies, driving growth. And one interesting thing that she's involved in, and we will open up later on during the conversation, is that she is the champion of female entrepreneurs and female women founders. And she is the startup network development responsible at Femigrants. Do I say it correctly?
Yes, Femigrants, yeah.
Femigrants. So you'll tell us all about all the amazing things that you're doing. And my first question, naturally, after hearing this, and I just barely scratched the surface of your CV, is that you're wearing so many hats, and you have a lot of roles. You're a founder. You are a keynote speaker. You're an AI marketing thought leader of the year. You're a mother. You're a woman in tech. You're an immigrant yourself. So tell us a little bit. Who is Hila? What are the principles you've always had? Let's say if you go back to your childhood, what are the qualities that you've had in you to come up to where you are today?
Perfect. I love that. And I'll start with the simplicity of things. I'm a very accessible person. I'm very open and authentic with everybody I'll speak to. And I think that this is my number one thing, to be very honest. I really take it to the business later, but to be ethical in the way I do decision making. I really don't give a lot of power to titles, to status, to what people come from or their wealth. I come to see people as they are in a very fairness way, in a very caring way. I would say that for me, it's very critical to stay grounded, to really allow myself to be open to meet new people, to ensure that I'm come with the level of humility that keeps me really open and curious without judgment and without knowing what's the answer before I actually have the conversation and listening. For me, generosity is something that I've seen in my house a lot. It's come around in mentorship, in investment, hundreds of hours that I give a year to mentor women around the world. I do it also with men, but for me, my big, focus is to take women and to make sure that I help them with this job search, with earning more money, to get salary negotiation, and really see them get promoted, getting stronger and getting speaker opportunity. And my overall thinking is pay it forward. I feel very abundant. I feel that I have great opportunities, great network. And I think this is very strong for me. The other part will be, coming from Israel, growing as an entrepreneur in Tel Aviv and later down the road in the US. I think that resilience is a key point for me to ensure that I have this muscle to come back to myself, to feel very secured in who I am, and to really do my stuff without thinking about the voices out there and the noise. And in the end of the day, it's all come to, I would say, like kind of a human-centric, point of view, or the way of thinking about stuff, deep listening, really see the people around me, and ensure that I respect people and don't use them or don't see them just as an outcome based. So this is my overall values or approach.
So generosity, human centricity, being true to yourself, there's a lot of good qualities there. Do you come, Hila, from a family of entrepreneurs? Is it something that you have very close to you? Because I think that gives you some kind of wings to pursue your dreams.
Yeah, I was very lucky. My dad is an entrepreneur. He used to be CEO for many years. So I grew in a house that it was kind of a mindset of like how we create the best. What is the value we bring to the world? How do we take what we see for ourselves as a value, but bringing this to broader, like larger audience? And for me, it was like sitting there as like 6-year-old, 10-year-old later down the road, listening to, advisory board conversation, listening to my dad decision making. He used to get my opinion, not to really encounter that, but to be able to give me the opportunity to think in the way a CEO thinks. So I think that being able to do it and practice that from a very young age was a huge value for me to take down the road and to ensure that I'm bringing these perceptions to my businesses and to other people's businesses.
When did you start your first business?
My first business. So I used to work when I started, I was 16, but my first startup came out in about like 26. So I used to be a lawyer in one of the biggest firms in Israel, Goldfarb Seligman, and I got the opportunity to join an HR tech company, and they wanted to open a new subsidiary company or a new startup for their business for ATS, applicant tracking system. So I was 26 without a real business knowledge before that, because I used to be, as I said, a lawyer and more of like advisor. So I just find myself building the business in my hands, doing a lot of research, traveling the world, reading a lot, meeting people from Harvard, from Stanford, reading tons of books and reading everything they do in their, executive MBA's program. And trying to conjunct all of that with my perception, with my deep knowledge, and speaking with a lot of clients and potential prospects. And this is where I started. And I did everything. I was a product manager, I was a marketing manager. I was a technical person until I become more and more expert in specific area, like the go-to-market, product marketing later down the road, and sales at some level.
Mm-hmm. So you started from Israel's startup scene, and very soon you've gotten this global international experience. You have a lot of a diverse background, but you're very well known as a thought leader, especially in product marketing. Tell us a little bit about product marketing and your career in terms of that. And also, I know you've been co-authoring or being a contributing author of a book called Product Marketing Wisdom that is one of the bestsellers in the field. So how the passion for product marketing became more crystal in your career?
Sure. So I think that later down the road, when I started to work with others, not just my own startup, I found that product marketing has the biggest proxy to entrepreneurship. And why is that? Because as product marketer, you need to move from here to here, from the strategic point of view in which you really see and shape all the entire landscape. What is going on in the business, what the CEO wants to achieve, what the head of department from sales to product to marketing and customer success want to achieve. And in between that, identify the gaps, see the business opportunity, and connect the dots. So I think that this beautiful point in which you come from the strategy, but going down to create the research, the tactics, the go-to-market motion, and to really think about the ICP and how do I get to them and how do I achieve the value, for me was a combination that gave me the hats of like a CEO or a marketer and a salesperson, and being able to shift my point of view. So I love that so much. And I think that product marketing can be thought in very, unique way and very range of like roles and perceptions. For me, it was to bring all this knowledge together, connect the dots, ensure that there is alignment across the organization, being more educational approach and touching the places that I thought that are going to impact the most the revenue. So I really lean into some level of positioning and messaging, but also building the streams of new revenue, building new engine of revenue, and scaling them up. I know that some other PMMs can speak more about top of the funnel or mid of the funnel, and I try to negotiate to push more to the CRO side of the business to ensure that I'm thinking holistically, not just about acquisition and sales, but also retention play, churn reduction. So seeing the business holistically and thinking from a CEO perspective. As you can imagine, all connect the dots for me. So this is how I come to product marketing and grew into that. And the book, written by Nitin Kartik, and he's my friend and my colleague for many years. And we had this opportunity to speak about the wisdom of product marketing, what happening around the world. And I wrote a chapter about the global
wisdom, yes.
Yes, and the difference between working in different continent and what does it actually mean to product marketing.
I was coming to that. I'm here seeing the chapter that you're referring to, Global Wisdom, and it has some sub-chapters: Success in International Product Marketing, Universal Truths, the Ever-Evolving role, and Regional Flavors. So what are the gists? So if we're just to intrigue the viewers and listeners, so what are the top insights, some handpick insights you can give from this chapter of the book that you call
The Global Wisdom? So there is a few aspects. I think that I love to speak a lot about the impact of geography, how it's impacted my life, and how working in different continents really shaped the way you think. So I can say that product marketer in Israel work in a very lean area, and we come from a very crowded scene, moving extremely fast. And the way we work is with tons of uncertainty and, doing a lot of our decision on the fly, which I love. I think in work in sprints, it gives you a lot of resilience that we mentioned earlier. You have some sense of urgency and that's kind of level, like working long hours and being super dedicated to what you do, very connected. I think that most of the startup people in Israel and PMM specifically feel very connected to the business and very, very deeply engaged. Mm-hmm. And obviously we have this kind of direct style of communication as well, which sometimes come hard for us in the US because we come sometimes across as rude or very direct and intrusive. And I think this is a challenge between the continent. What I came to see in Europe is a lot of I would say sharpening teams, working very thoroughly through the processes, ensuring they respect the regulatory element, and adapt the go-to-market in a very local nuance approach. They see it as a very, very strategic, logic, process-oriented role, which is very different from what I've seen there. And I think that what I see in PMM in the US is much more structured way, in the meaning that PMM is the most mature in the US, very data-driven, very specialized roles. You can see multiple roles in very niche areas. Think about each one of these areas as very particular and going very deep with that. As well, we think about processes here, scaling, and much more sophistication and much more measurable ROI. So I think that working in all these continents give you the ability to really see the difference, to understand the nuance in each one of the culture and how to kind of go between the gaps between those and ensure that PMM focus in the right area, from positioning to messaging, what works for one continent won't work for other. Some tactics like the right social media to be in is great in Japan, but it's not relevant at all to the US and Europe. So I think that we see it both in tactics, go-to-market approach, how do we go to ICPs, the level of in-depth in research, and even the day-to-day work sprints versus more holistic long-term processes.
Very interesting. Also an intercultural communication expert and marketing teacher. I've been teaching in higher education, and I wanted to ask you, you spoke about the role of education and learning. So how you do things differently than how go-to-market strategies have been taught traditionally. And especially I want to bring in here your own consultancy, the 10x GTM, 10xgtm.com. I can show here, for instance. Tell us a little bit how you do things differently in this day and age, and what value you bring to your clients.
For sure. And I'll tell you that. I think that the reason we actually built 10x to go to market is because we have done it in about 15 years, both me and Renat, my partner, in different companies, both seed to C rounds and later down the road, unicorns, and work also with multinational companies. And I think seeing the motion happening in corporates versus seed company and startups with hyper growth, it was really interesting to see what works, what's not working, what can be elevated, how can we really build around foundation to ensure the right scale and maturity of companies. So we have a lot of passion to what we do. And I think that the number one thing is just coming with all this perception, knowledge, experience, like mistake we have done in the past that really help us to have this lesson learned. And what we do there is we really serve and work very closely with early stage and hyper-growth B2B startups, both in SaaS area and AI native. And we work with their CRO, we work with their CPO, and mostly with the CEO to take the company where they want to go and to build the right growth engine for them. And we scale companies from like starting with 10 million ARR, coming to 400 plus. And I think that the story is to really be listening to them, ensuring that we don't just come with a point of view. We ask the right question. We go to the bottom line. Sometimes CEO think that they have problem X, but when I'm coming in, we call ourselves the chief fixer officers. We actually want to ask all the questions. What's happening in your sales today? What are you trying to double down on? Where should your revenue be? What's working, what's not working? What are the places that you believe are the bottlenecks? And so on and so on. And sometimes they will think that the problem is in area X. And then when we see the full picture, I can come back to them and say, listen, here is all the gaps that I see across the funnel. We can prioritize together. We can say that we're going to specific area, but I want you to see the entire picture. We had this kind of conversation with a VC recently, and they opened a new, another company that they supported, and they wanted to bring advisory. And their CEO came and said, I want to double my ARR for next year from like about 25 to 50, which is great. And you can bring the right CMO function or the right marketing function. But the question was, do you set yourself to success today with the right salespeople, with the number of people you need? How does the pipeline look like to ensure that you have the X4 on that in 10 months, you will be in the place you want to be. And if you do, you need to start tomorrow with all this foundation. And it brings some hard conversation and some hard like opening question that sometimes the foundation are not there. We have this kind of like trajectory we want to bridge. So we're very honest and taking this, like what the things are, what is the data you have today? How do we ensure that we reflect for you what need to be done and bring in the other relevant people, not just us, to combine the forces, to have the right stream of revenue, to optimize what you already have, and to ensure that your story is extremely differentiated. And we have, I would say, 4 framework we build based on this knowledge and this like structured, repeatable system of go-to-market we build. And we do it with fractional leadership, and we work on targeted projects, and we bring in the positioning and launch MVP framework, and we really ensure that we have a crystal clear, story to tell, differentiating the company versus the competition and driving their pipeline. We build the 5 A's go-to-market framework to ensure that we take the entire organization, as I mentioned, aligning them versus the target customers, what their strategy they're trying to achieve, and what is the right go-to-market in each one of the phases to make it repeatable. And then we work with them on growth engine framework design, and in the end, thinking about revenue partnership system and ecosystem to ensure that they have the right partnership that can double down on the revenue and long-term growth as well.
You spoke about being data-driven and being human-centric at the same time. How do you manage to combine this human centricity? Because you spoke about what are your salespeople doing, what are metrics are they targeting, and so on. How the return on the investment, the metrics, the data go hand in hand with people? Because at the end of the day, in this, at least, we will go to AI. I have lots of questions to ask because you're an expert in that domain as well. But we still have people that are doing the actual work and following these processes. So human centricity on the one hand, data-driven decision-making, return on investment, how those two can be combined in the best possible way.
For sure. And I think we started earlier, we talked about values and perception. So I think that the number one thing I would say, never forget where you're coming from and who you are as a human being before everything you do with others. For my perception, I really connected out between my human-centric leadership approach to the result and bringing like clarity, clear guidance, and a lot of accountability that I'm first of all putting on myself. I would say that when I work with people, I'm really clear. What is my vision? What are the KPIs? What are we trying to target, tackle, and approach? And usually what I do with people, I said, here is 2-3 paths that I can think about. Here is kind of solution I can think about. But I'm doing it just to give my way of process of like thinking. And I'm giving my people the full autonomy to do the how. And why I'm doing that, a lot of time I get a pushback on that. And I will say, because I believe that people are smart. I hire them because sometimes they're smarter than me or bring a unique point of view. I want to ensure that we create an environment of thinkers, of people that research, doing things in their own unique way. And a lot of time their way will be better than mine. And I'm always available to consult, to support, to create a safe environment, to test, to try, to measure yourself, to make mistakes. And in this environment, I will ensure that we have a progress, we have these reviews. I will make sure that the decision are data-driven or client-driven, and I'll ensure that both me and my people have this kind of accountability to what we do. I think that we need to give a lot of credits to people for everything they do for us and with us. I celebrate a lot of the wins of people I support and working with. And in the end of the day, I think that we take this lesson learned and being very transparent and say, here is what worked, here's what didn't. And I do it with everybody, with other teams, not the one that I manage by myself, because I think that this transparency helps us all grow and ensure that in the next time we come into a project, we just know what not to repeat and what to double down on.
I was coming to this. So if now for this show, Leadership Spotlight, featuring you, you are a founder yourself, but you're a thought leader also. If people who are founders in a SaaS company listening, what do you think would be in this day and age some mistakes or pitfalls that should be avoided if we're talking about growth? How the mindset of this founder should change if it's not ready to go to the next step? Have you seen this from your experience? You sort of touched upon it. Do you have other experience and concrete examples of how you helped founders really go to the next level with reasonable expectations and targets?
For sure. So I think that when you think about scaling startup, becoming global or becoming like to the next phase of like after like 3 rounds of like of VCs coming in and bake. So I see a lot of this staying in the old startup mode. What does it mean? We take a lot of like, I see CEO get ad hoc decision and think about like scaling in the old ways that they used to be. And what I do with them is to ensure that we really install this operation cadence. How do we do decision in the right way? What is the right process to do those? Who are the decision makers that need to be in the loop and when? So we do the choices, what we do in fast way, but still very owned and very clear and in a process-oriented environment. Other elements that come is that a lot of the CEO come from specific areas, biz dev, sales, marketing, whatever it is, even like product. And we tend to over-centralize the founder level, what they do. And we see a lot of bottleneck in different area and region around the world waiting to this decision coming from the C-level in the headquarters. And I think that we need to push decision to the right edge, where we really have this kind of like working with the clients, giving the opportunity to really have this kind of centralized work in different region, ensuring that the customer and constant variation is being able to implement it and get the decision not just in the main place, like really delegate this kind of decision-making elements. Another thing that's happening that we stay with the old team, we're not really upgrading the old team. So CEOs love the people starting with them at the first, but I love the loyalty. But sometimes it's not the right people, the early start that really help you to be in the A round, not always the right hire to the stage experience. You need people that really live the next 12 to 24 months as in your business and really raise the bar to kind of this role definition. So I think this is also something that I see. They're not shaping the people, the team, and the role specifically. A lot of money waste, what I call the waste burn. We don't need to scale and spend so much until the data says go to and you have the right product market fit. And I think that I see a lot of like companies grow with it, like love the idea, love to the feature, but did not really validate the product market fit in each one of the market and target audience, and a lot of like cost going to cost acquisition to the wrong ICP or to the wrong geo with the wrong offering. And another thing is the rocky confusion, I would say, which make a slow decision area. The titles not always equal to the decision clarity, and we really need to understand who is the decision maker in each one of the phases and ensure that we have the right vocabulary to that. And we really need to ensure that everybody knows what is, turn in the funnel and to support. And in the end of the day, for the go-to-market, it's not one size fits all. And we tend to take the headquarter globally playbook to every place. And I think that to localize product, positioning in channels is crucial to succeed around the world as well.
So around the world and in different industries, and as you very much well know, there are a lot of culture differences. Have you met founders that they have leadership styles that really gets them ahead in the game? And if so, what is the leadership style that could really help a company grow? Is there such leadership style that you've seen really contributing greatly to the success of the business?
Yes, for sure. So I think it comes back to values. I would say integrity and honesty first before everything else. Leader that's really transparent with their people, that they can full responsibilities, even in uncomfortable time, which we don't want to do that. It's really create a real trust with your peers, with your employees, with your investor. This is something that I've seen often. Another part is the kind of like giving the freedom to execution and being able to put a vision, to know where you go, to be very clear in communicating this, but give your people, the opportunity to operate by themselves, to make mistakes, to come back, and knowing that you're not the only one based on your title and seniority that knows everything. I would say macro management versus micromanagement. It's something that I see a lot. Ensuring that the destination is there, the standards are there, but you let the people to do the details and let them thrive with their accountability. We mentioned the mentorship a bit and the human center. So I think that giving mentorship, ensuring that you coach the people in the best way and provide this kind of like personal and professional grow experience is huge for people. Recognize your people that win their people, success, ensuring that you celebrate them, give credit to people. And I would say a lot of flexibility, being able to be direct, but also give them the process in place and support the people. I think that when I think about inspiring leadership, it will always come back to bold visionaries, but also with level of humility and authenticity in their heart, and people that not fall in love in their titles, but with, other people, teams, and their actual mission, which is kind of coming from collaboration environments.
So let's say our viewers are this type of great visionary, humble leaders who mentor their team and are there with them throughout the journey. However, in the environment now and the era that we live in with AI and automation and the data-driven decision-making that is so pressing, as we mentioned before, how those leaders can really help and prepare their teams for the world that we are, the workplace of today, but also the workplace of the future. What can leaders do to prepare and make their teams and their business future-proof?
For sure. So I think that everybody speaks now about AI and it's a buzzword. And what I've seen around me is that a lot of companies implement elements. They build agents, they build solutions, but it's not an end-to-end processes. So when I think about the future, it's going to be a lot of testing environment and to really ensure that people feel comfortable with the uncertainty and giving them a real space to experiment. So I would say to pick a few, 2 or 3 high-impact use cases and to make pilots just to ensure that you start with one and then you can scale with clear ownership in each one of them to ensure that you get the ROI and then grow into that. Have the right people in place that experiment the different tool, connect the different tool, and create these kind of opportunities. I think that a lot of employees are trying AI now, and I think that from leadership point of view, you need to be very balanced between setting the goals and guidelines and the measurement opportunity, but really encourage this kind of type of experimentation and confidence in this crazy area. Another thing is to redesign the job for really augmenting shape. So I think about like co-pilot workflow and to ensure that people can move faster, that your employees are ready for this augmentation, and that leadership pace is not a bottleneck for the employees. Another thing is to think, when you think about, we talked about like how we hire. So we build a skill-based talent systems today and use the AI actually to map the gaps and mobility in the organization, not just thinking about titles, but actually perception, knowledge, abilities, and mindset that can bring your people to be super successful and bring the business to be successful. There is also the element of governance that need to be stand up and to be ensured that you have the right human in the loop, that you check the privacy and the risk, and you have someone that check the quality and oversight everything about the rules you want to put on that. Also, protecting the data quality is going to be super crucial to ensure that you have documented sources, you check your biases, and everything is like auditing the trial before you really scaling with AI. And in the end, don't forget the human skill. I think that you keep teaching analytical, creative leadership, everything that really rise to ensure that you keep the people demand and the people value alongside the AI support to the organization.
I have here, since we're talking about AI, this graph here, I would like to show it. So you have won an award a couple of weeks ago. Is it so?
Yes, a few
so
weeks
you
ago.
won first place at the AI marketing category at the AI Thought Leader Award. Tell us a little bit how this came about.
So it came as a big surprise, to be honest. We started 10x GTM as a consultancy firm, and we get more and more clients in the AI space, native AI. So we started to build campaign, we started to build solution, everything based on AI, tons of experiment and agent and solution. So I think that this prize is a combination of the tools we built for our clients, the campaigns we created. We have a few staff that won innovative award in a portfolio for AI Martech and other stuff we have done. And in the end of the day, what I felt when I got it is kind of like recognition to the work being done in front and behind the scene. One of the things we're doing behind the scene is we're building on Cursor our own positioning and messaging tool as part of our go-to-market motion. So we take all the knowledge we have today from 15 years, 20 years of consultancy, and putting this into this framework that are repeatable and can be very valuable for like companies early on in like C2B stages. And in the sweet spot, we build everything to be experimental, giving CEOs the opportunity to speak with our tools, to put in data, and to come back with a value proposition that really help them to shape how they think about their go-to-market perception, positioning elements. So it's kind of recognition to the experiments, to the problem solution we give, to the way we work with our clients for this environment, and to building these new innovative tools.
Excellent. Let's talk a little bit about one topic that is very close to my heart, women in tech and supporting female founders. You are a woman of a foreign background, right? You are from Israel originally, living in the States, in the United States currently. Tell us a little bit about the Femigrants and what is your role there and why this is close to your heart.
Okay. So, when I joined Femigrant, I joined the first time just to meet the people and to see what they do and to join the events, kind of a solidarity perspective. But I was very hooked to this place. I would say I met their amazing women from around the world that came to the US and built their own startup and really need this kind of push to get the pitch in the right way. Who are the investors they can meet, to open them the doors and to ensure that their story is clear. They have consistency of everything they tell, and they really bring their innovative approach, their successful, history into the motion. And what it meant to me, it was like to see the places that I needed so much in my past when I wasn't like early on entrepreneur. It was very, very lonely. It was very hard to be entrepreneur a young entrepreneur, I would say, in Israel, later down the road coming to the US. I didn't know anyone. I didn't have my strong networks. And now in Femigrants, what we really do is we take these female immigrants that's a leading tech startups, and we ensure to put them in the right spot in front of the right VC. We want as a mission to take more money coming from VC to be allocated to women-led tech. And the numbers are horrible. We speak about less than 10% of the global money that come to women-led startup today out of the total VC money. And if I think about the mission, it's like, how do we make that a 10%? How do we take this to a better place in which we really support others? And hopefully, this is something we can give to every woman that want to come into the field and to get more confidence, to get more support system, and to ensure that we have this kind of disciplined approach to help them to create the right pitch and to create the right, I would say, vision in place, and to ensure they're not missing anything because they're judged. And women are coming to the room and required to do more than the regular perception of what men usually need to do, to have more track record. And I want to ensure that I'm supporting them in a way that help and shape this environment. I'm just one person. The woman that led it amazingly and created this organization is Ayrikin Eliav, and she is doing amazing things for 8 years now for this woman. And I'm just joining her and the others to ensure that we support the community.
Excellent that you're involved in this initiative. But tell us a little bit for our listeners, what advice you would give to emerging leaders listening now in order to make it. Where should they turn to if, let's say, we don't have around the world Femigrants, or is it the global organization, or how can one benefit, or is there any other advice you have for those listening? How can we support also women-led tech?
It's a great question. So I would say I talked about it with a few VCs partners recently. And the number one thing I said, we need the men around us to support this idea. We need them to pitch it. We need it to be our champions, and to first of all connect with men in our environment that are in strong position and ensure that they have it in their mind. We want to see more VCs, not just saying that they want to see women in their portfolio companies, but also adding us to their advisory board, adding women to their pool as well. I would say we need to build a sponsored network for women to ensure that they really map the right funds and investory and ensure that they have the right opportunity, who are the right relevant VCs, who are more diverse in their area, who cares a lot about the problem they solve, and really reach to the relevant VCs that might be the best, support system for them. Find other communities. Where Femigrant currently is in Silicon Valley. Hopefully in the future it might go bigger, but for now I would say find a local community or online community, get this support system, listen to the right podcast, come to the right event. Don't be afraid of be speaking up to yourself. Create the articles, create a LinkedIn post, ensure that you're in podcast, and create this kind of visibility that ensure that you're in front of the right eyes. Be really down into your numbers, know your data, don't skip on any elements, know your cost acquisition, your go-to-market approach, your milestone in a year and a half ahead, what's your lifetime value, what are the right ICP, have this kind of objection handling. Be sure that you come very prepared to every question you will get, and don't be afraid to make mistakes. I think that the number one thing I see is just the amazing women with great technology. They don't like to pitch. They feel afraid to, put themselves out there. So put yourself out there.
And you, Hila, are just exactly this success story of a female founder who is bold, knows their numbers, is not afraid to put herself out there. So it's such a great pleasure listening to you and having you here today on Leadership Spotlight. Is there anything else that we haven't touched upon and you absolutely want to share with our viewers and listeners? Give them the best of your wisdom.
One thing. So let's speak about one thing I wish someone told me first. And I'll start with the women, but it's for everyone. I would say that early down the road, I silenced myself. And I thought it's humility, which wasn't. So I say to everyone that's listening right now, don't let your being nice really outrank the impact you can do. Speak up with clear point of view, come to the room. You are usually the person that closest to the work, so you have the best knowledge of everything you do. Don't be afraid of the titles. Don't care about them. Come with visibility. Be strong. Be open. And be the model you want others to follow.
Excellent. A great model, ladies and gentlemen. Hila Lauterbach was with me on Leadership Insight. Thank you so much, Hila.
Thank you so much. It was a pleasure.
And please check out 10x GTM and follow her, connect with her on LinkedIn. Here it is, Hila Lauterbach Marketing on LinkedIn. She has a great following there, always posting great content as well. Hila, thank you so much.
Thank you so much. It was a pleasure.
Pleasure was all mine. That was Hila Lauterbach. Check her out. Amazing lady, such an inspirational thought leader and founder herself. This was Leadership Spotlight, powered by OneStream Live from Finland with love. Thank you for tuning in and listening. And I'll see you next time with another inspiring guest sharing their insights on innovation, on business and technology. Thank you for tuning in. Bye.